setting the stage for the 16th Development Dialogue. Your leadership not only inspires but ignites the spirit of transformation in rural communities, guiding us toward impactful solutions.
Thank you, Honorable. We request you to join our next panel discussions. A big round of applause for our leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have an exciting lineup of multiple panel discussions, each featuring distinguished experts from various fields. These discussions promise to be insightful, engaging, and full of valuable takeaways. Our moderators will guide us through these enriching conversations. As we embark on this journey of exploration and discovery, let's keep our minds open, our questions ready, and our passions for positive change burning bright. So let's get started with our first panel. The first panel for the event today is on scope of partnership for scale and impact. And to guide this discussion, we have our esteemed moderator, Mr. Santosh Abraham, Principal and Lead Government Engagement, Satwa Consulting. Please give him a big round of applause. Who will steer this conversation in a meaningful direction. We are privileged to have an incredible panel of experts who will share their insights and perspectives. I now call upon Mr. Rahul Patil, Director, BLDD Associations, Data Science and Data Enthusiast, Cloud and Full Stack Developer, Ms. Swapna Ravindran, CEO, Cherish Trust. Our Impactful Social Leader by the India CSR Leadership Award in the Impactful Social Leader category. We welcome Ms. Swesha Gupta, Lead Organizational Development, Manav Law, a social development professional passionate about driving positive change in rural communities through social impact initiatives. We now call upon Dr. Naga Subramaniam, co-founder of Vanisha Service Foundation, multi-skilled healthcare professional with entrepreneurial interests. Dr. Surabhi Yadav, Senior CSR Consultant, HCL Foundation, Certified CSR Professional and has been a Master Trainer with Indian Institute for Corporate Affairs. Please join us in welcoming our panelists to the stage. A big round of applause for them. Before we kick off, here's a quick reminder for our audience. Your questions are crucial. After the panel discussion, we will open the floor for discussion. So stay tuned. Over to Mr. Santosh.
It's a privilege to be here at the Development Dialogues. And I really want to, think about what we are talking about, partnerships in the scope for impact and scale. From a numbers perspective, if you look at where India is going, in the last year alone, there were 4.2 crore jobs that were added to the ecosystem. And by 2030, it is believed that there will be 90 million more jobs that will be created. With jobs being created, we are also seeing that more than 40 to 60% of the jobs that we currently know right now are going to have a massive disruption in the way the jobs are done, right? In terms of how skilling is done or how the jobs will evolve. So there's an evolution of jobs. So now we are looking at a population where we have the largest youth population in the world, close to 600 million people who need skilling, reskilling, upskilling. So the challenge that is right in front of us is very huge. We also know that we have a Viksit Bharat vision 2047. In 22 years, we want India to be a powerhouse of many things, economic development. We want India to be the country that is skilling for the world. There are so many aspirations that are attached to this whole Viksit Bharat idea. For this to happen, we just don't need more skilling. We need transformation, and transformation change is what will take us there. That incremental is good, but transformation is better, and that transformation change is what is going to set us up for success. So I am so happy that I have an esteemed panel with me. I just fill out the introductions. I have Mr. Patil or Rahul. He's the director of BLE University and Association. He provides strategic oversights to 75 plus educational institutions and annually serves about 36,000 students. And I think being an organization that is in the shape, business of education is also shaping the vision and operations of the BLE University. He's one of the things he does is constantly engages with the industry and leaders to ensure that there is innovation in his organization. Thank you for being here. We have Dr. Surabhi, a CSR consultant with HCL Tech. Dr. Surabhi is one of the earliest PhDs in CSR, and she has over a decade of experience in advocacy, policy advisory. She is a certified CSR professional and advisor, consultant, and she's been involved with academics, research, training, CSR and marketing. So many things in the same sector. Thank you, welcome. We have Swechha Gupta. She's a passionate change maker. I think she's the youngest on the panel. And she has been, she has an interesting career. She started with GIS as a career choice, and then she's moved into the social development with a fellowship from the India Fellowship Program. And she trained first-hand experience there in implementing programs with nonprofits. So graduate from remote sensing, gold medalist from BHU, a multi-talented personality again, looking at development. We have Sapna Ravindran. She's a highly passionate senior executive with more than 27 years of experience in this space. And I know Sapna from different facets of her work, especially from Smile. Now, she's the CEO of Cherish Trust, and she's responsible for strategic leadership, steering the organization, fundraising, and also, making sure that sustainably and organically the organization grows. So I think there's a lot of insight we want to hear from you. Last but not the least, we also have Dr. Nagasubramaniam from Monisha Foundation. We've all heard the term Taylor Toy Soldier, and Doctor is a living example of the same. He's a soldier, a doctor, author, mentor, evaluator, many things. And with his medical education, he's served in many places in rural communities, brought up a lot of change in communities. He served in the Indian Air Force for 14 years and was recognized very widely for his work. And he's also one of the core team members of the Command Hospital in Bangalore. You know who to find out now. And great. So with this amazing panel, I'm more than happy to move to the conversations around partnerships and the scope of partnerships. So all of us know there is partnership is a very complex activity, right? It's not a simple term to be thrown around, and this is not a term that is new. This has been in the conversations for many years, and I think one of the things that was missing in these partnerships was the ability to understand, create shared value, and those things are being recognized and being accomplished by these people sitting here. So my first question is to you, Rahul. As an institution, what do you think partnerships with governments, corporates have used place, and how has it seen been shaping the landscape of schooling? If you can put some light on what your experiences have been from the BLE US.
Thank you. So in terms of the BLE, we run 75 schools and colleges, engineering, medical, pharmacy, and so various different colleges and schools. So we've been seeing that the government, whether it's state or central government, has been focused on skill development in various fronts. corporate tie-ups have been encouraged by AICTE. So there is 25% of the curriculum. Colleges are free to incorporate things from the industry. The evolution of syllabus also has been changing, whether it is from VTU for engineering, for example. But what we also need to understand is currently let's talk about our engineering college. We have computer science, mechanical, civil, various departments. Under computer science, there is a sub thing called computer science and artificial intelligence. Somewhere we do feel that the syllabus is not and hasn't evolved as much as we would like it to evolve. Today, artificial intelligence is not a subject on its own to teach as part of computer science. Artificial intelligence is embodied in every different area that we would like to focus on. Whether you want to focus on manufacturing, it is part of automation. Whether you want to focus on civil engineering, now it is a part of that. So artificial intelligence is going to impact everything around us. Even simpler things like 5 years before, when you went to, for example, you talk about crime. You go to a police station. What was the crime there? It was some theft or different ways spread. Today, one of the major things that when you go to a police station, whether it is probably Bijapur or Bangalore, cybercrime is a big part of policing. So our police stations are equipped to handle that. So our government ecosystem, our industry, and colleges need to work in a much more organized fashion to see skilling or CSR cannot be the only answer. It has to be companies need to look at education solutions and skilling as an investment and not as CSR, so that they are able to gauge what the demand is from the students and engage the syllabus required and skilling required for that.
Just a follow-on question from that. So, how are you looking at industry academia partnerships, right? So that's one of the most important pieces. And in your experience, how easy has it been to develop one, or what are the kind of partnership you normally look? Is it technical? Is it placement? Is it training? What is it?
And really, we've been trying to focus up different centers of excellence. So the industry is involved in from the early days when the student enters the stream in the first year, second year. We try to engage them in what is necessary, and slowly it's been evolving. So we have Toyota, for example, recently with the Center of Excellence in BND. So we are trying to engage centers of excellence in different fields. So students are specialized and trained in certain sectors early in the early days.
What does it take to get one partnership?
So it's not, I wouldn't say it's very easy, but it takes a lot of effort. So it's a two-way stream where the industry also should feel the necessity that it wants to engage with various factors, where the geographic location is, the demography, student profile, how interested the faculty are, students are. So all these factors do matter. It's not, I wouldn't say it is super easy to forge partnerships with the industry, but the industry is also looking to it. And when we colleges want to do something, I think there are certain areas where we can definitely focus on.
Great, thank you. I'll come back to you for the questions. I'll move to Sapna. Sapna, you've career in this industries. You've been leading partnership with Smile, with Cherish, the CEO. So tell me, in your experience, how have you navigated partnerships? It's one of the most complex things to navigate, right? There are different forces pulling you in different sides, different ambitions. So, what has been your experience with you?
Thank you, Santosh. Good morning, everyone. 27 plus years is a long time. So, taking the liberty of taking you through my various navigation. Before I speak about partnership, specifically in this context, any partnership, in any relationship, as you know, there are some cross-cutting factors, whether it's in a marriage or any professional, personal. There is transparency required, there is same mindset, shared values that we speak about. You need that, should have a shared common work. This is called cross-cutting. So, having said that, different kind of partnership that is especially what you see within the sector. You could have knowledge partners. The case in point, Cherish, right now, the relationship we have with Deshpande Foundation is for one of our specific education model, what we call English Shiksha. For that, Deshpande Foundation, we were the pilot implementation partner for them. So we run, I'm taking a step back and just briefly introducing Smile. We are a not-for-profit Indian entity, 10 years old, having a large presence in Haria, which is closer to Hubli, absolutely tribal, rural, 60 plus villages. The programs that we run are across 3 vertical areas of education, and this is a program which we run from early learning to livelihood, especially for the gender. So the 3 verticals are education, livelihood, and entrepreneurship. For the girls, we have the education program, and the education we have 3 models. We have the junior Shiksha model, we have what we call the English Shiksha model, and what we call the E-Shiksha model. It is specifically for the English Shiksha model that we partnered with the Deshpande Foundation, and we really take a lot of pride that we were the pilot, and when I see this room full, that we clearly take pride that something worked in this partnership, that you have full confidence to expand and scale beyond Cherish in Hariyar. Yeah. So the knowledge partner, strategic partnership, which could be not specifically, not necessarily only for knowledge or technical component, but it could be, again I'll bring back our example, our strategic partnership for Cherish right now is, one is scaling, the other is for our livelihood program. We have partnered with agencies like 100 Hands and others who are holding exhibitions and helping us, facilitating our women to sell their products or bring them to the platform. The third partnership would be, just taking a second with Kelly, the strategic partnership with Kelly to ensure that various departments of Kelly are working closely with us for the social immersion and coming with the specific social solutions for our challenges. So we have the computer science department who has helped to develop app for us. So all our local teachers, which we call learning facilitators in the field, their mobile have this app. So we track the entire MIS, right from the participation, the attendance, to the offtake, to what is the impact, the learning levels, how has it increased. We track it real time through these apps. That's one example. Likewise, the other departments, the MBA department helps us with the marketing of the products. The fashion technology department helps us with designing and coming with new ideas for our products. So the third kind of partnership. The fourth kind of partnership could be very specific, where you are responding to proposals and RFPs as consortium. So in the traditional world, pre-CSRP amendments of CSR, the bilateral organizations and most of the foundations were absolutely open to this kind of partnerships, where you leverage the skill set and the expertise of various parties. It could be NGO, could be the implementing party, industrial association could be clearly the partner who will open doors to workplaces. So I'm having had this experience running those kind of things. FICCI and FKCCI and a Bangalore Chamber, those kind of associations, where our partners, and upfront when we are responding to proposals, they seconded us and clearly laid out their support to us that this is their deliverable and this is our deliverable. So very clearly laid out, we are clear what is the responsibility and deliverable of all the partners. And again, one of the clear success indicators, you asked what is the challenge. There has to be shared values, there has to be a common principles, like we agree principles, like you don't want to be associated with, by principle, you don't need to arms and ammunition or tobacco-based products. You don't want to be associated with that. So you have to be very clear about what are your values and what are the principles that you believe in. The third one, there has to be a value add. If you don't see value add, that's often when these partnerships break up, like marriages. Like you don't see. There is a lot of parallel. I can draw a lot of parallel in this relationship also, this partnership also. The last one is a win-win. Do you see anything are we only taking from their partners? Are we only taking from the Deshpande Foundation? Are we only taking from KAV? Are we only taking from this association? What are we giving back to these partnerships is extremely crucial. That also is a test of the pudding. How long can you run these? PPP model, the other partnership which government raised, the private-public partnership which was hugely popular. At some point, the government also realized that hey, there is clearly merit in partnering with the so-called private sector, including in a way, the genesis of CSR could also be stemming from that, realizing that hey, there is really merit in working closely with the corporates and the private sector. The other kind of partnership is your kinds of push, where you have bodies and third parties who are doing the M&E, bringing in clearly objective experts to monitor, evaluate, conduct the baselines, endlines, and especially impact surveys right now. So that's the other thing. Navigating, your second part of the question was navigating. I think the cross-cutting parameters that I spoke about, none of it is easy, but if you have a shared goal, if you have shared value, you're very clear where you want to go, and you're drawing in expertise, there is expertise from each of the partners, drawing in each other's strength. It has to be clearly a supplementing or a complementing relationship, and you give and take. I think it might not be easy, but which relationship is easy, which partnership is easy. We can navigate through this if you follow all this. Thank you.
Thank you for that, very passionate. That brings on your experience, the partnerships. So, Akshay, coming to you, for an organization like Manavo, or where you're doing a lot of organization development work, for an organization, how important is it to work with partners? And sometimes it can be very daunting. Okay, partnership with larger entities. What do you think is the value, and how do you kind of see that evolving?
Thank you, Santosh, for that question. First of all, I would like to thank the Deshpande Foundation for giving me this opportunity. It is an honor and privilege to be sitting with these esteemed panelists who have immense experience in the sector. And I am in the first timer club as well. So, thank you for this opportunity. Secondly, before I talk about the question, I would like to share where I come from. Like, Madhavpur is called as Marathwada Navnirman Yogyat. We are based in Bid district of Maharashtra. And I'm sure most of you are aware what Bid is famous for. So Bid is famous for droughts, and that's how the organization was also started almost 42 years ago, when people started migrating from Bid in search of food and water, and left their place and moved to other places. So Dr. Dwarika Das Lohiya is the founder of the organization, and he left his medical practice and decided to establish Manapur in 1982. And since then, from the past 42 years, we have programs in watershed development, we have programs in agriculture, education, women empowerment, disaster relief. So our approach is integrated rural management. And in my capacity, I work in organization development, and as well as I'm looking after the Skill in Village program, which we are implementing with Deshpande Foundation. So coming back to your question, like when organizations like Motherhood, when we partner with larger organizations, it could be big foundations, corporates, governments as well. I see it as a great learning opportunity. It's a learning opportunity for us because they have immense resources and they have immense skill set. So it is an opportunity for us to learn from them, learn from their expertise, learn from the tech that they are using. And it also increases our credibility as well. When we partner with big foundations, big organizations, it increases our credibility. I would also like to share one small incident when we started partnering with DF in 2023. We decided that we have to do Skill in Village program, but being the implementer, I had no idea from where to begin. I was completely clueless. And Deshpande Foundation was a knowledge partner, but they went out of their way and they sent 2 of their team members from Hubli to Marathwada in Bid to help us in the process. And those 2 members, they came and they had started guiding me in the entire process from where to begin. And that's when things started falling into place, and we started getting an idea of how to run a program, how to run and implement the skill enrich program. We started with a very small number at 5 schools, but we are in the stage of increasing it and scaling it in the coming years. So when I talk about partnership, it has to be in this form of collaboration, where it is not about this is your role and this is my role. It is about when we come and co-create together. And that has been the norm with Deshpande Foundation. Whenever I had any challenges or any roadblocks that we were facing, we had one-on-one conversation with the team, and I would like to thank the entire team of Deshpande Foundation who are involved in this process. They have helped me in every aspect, in clearing each and the smallest doubts that I had about the program. And for partnerships like these, I feel like the key success is that you have to be transparent. You have to be transparent not just about your achievements, about the impact that you are creating. You have to be transparent about the challenges and the roadblocks that you are facing. And I think when we talk about that, it automatically humanizes the entire conversation, and that's where the real magic happens. Second point, I feel the key success of a collaborative partnership is having a feedback loop mechanism. We are doing whatever you are doing, you are taking continuously feedback for that. And that's how I think we are able to reach more rural people, more communities, because this collaborative partnership is already there. And we were able to understand even the smallest challenge, how we have to navigate that. And it has helped me immensely. Thank you.
Good. It's good to know that it's just not a MOU that you sign and say you become the donor, you become the implementing partner. It's much more of than how you invest in partnership is how it takes shape, right? So, Dr. Naga, you have had varied experiences in varied fields. It will be great for the audience to hear your perspective on, how do you align your vision and mission to other organizations? Because partnership also means alignment, and collaborative work is the only way. So, what strategies have you followed to ensure that it works?
Good morning to everybody. First of all, I'm here sitting here because of partnerships and collaborations which happened in my life. I completed my Air Force tenure, had an opportunity to do a management course from IIT Lucknow, and was into corporate hospital for 3 years. In 3 years' time, I was getting very frustrated and bored. I wanted to connect back with my roots. So, social service was my passion from my college days. I did not know what to do. That time, one of my friends, she told me that why don't you go to Deshpande Foundation? You can have an idea about what you can do in your life. So 8 years back, I came here as one of the delegates sitting there, scared of people, don't know who to speak to, who to look at to, just glued to the audience stage and listening to various thought process which people are telling. Got inspired, went back and started Odisha Service Foundation. It's a Section 8 company. Odisha means unique thinkers and excellent workers with a spiritual outlook. Me and my wife felt that is what we can get that to be defining us. So that was a moment where life transformed. And we have been happy and we have been lucky to have got connected with BEAT Force. BEAT Force is Bangalore Effective Education Task Force, a voluntary consortium in Bangalore, where many NGOs are loosely connected, and this was front-ended by 3 amazing women who also had an organization to run. But after some time doing things in their own areas, they found that without collaborating or getting into partnerships, things cannot move on. And they formed this thing, and they started inviting all the NGOs working in the education space in Bangalore in the underprivileged space. I'm told that time more than 25,000 children are out of school in a city like Bangalore. We did not even know that this much of children need to do education. And these ladies saw that their area of influence is very small, and somebody they come and meet them, they're from other area. You know how Bangalore is with the traffic. So instead of trying to reach out to everywhere and playing God, they saw collaboration is the best approach. So that is why we got into that partnership happened. And one thing is, we did not have any knowledge of what to do. That is why this partnership helped us. They gave us the knowledge sharing, what to do, how to do. They mentored us for a year, and in 1 year time, we were able to independently establish in our area and start impacting the lives of people. Now we have, and COVID was a big game changer. COVID made us to realize that you cannot work in silos. You have to work in a collaborative partnership approach. Create a win-win situation. It's as simple as you all know the story of the difference between a hell and a heaven. In hell, what happens is a delicious food is placed on the table. Everybody tries to eat, but the only problem in hell, the thing is, they cannot flex their hands. If you cannot flex your hands, you cannot eat, isn't it? So in hell, everything is fallen down. The food is not reaching the mouth, it is all fallen down. In heaven, what happens? They all sit together, they realize their limitations, they realize their strengths. So what they do is, they start feeding the next person. The next person feeds the next person. So what happens? Everybody gets fed and nothing is wasted. So this is what this partnership is all about and collaboration is all about. And this is what we learned from Onisha Service Foundation. And Deshpande has been our Dronacharyas. We are the Ekalavas of them. Only good thing is they did not ask our thumb, but they are giving us the partnership. That is the best thing we can think of. And we are grateful to this madam. And because of this one change, the conference which I came, this could impact more than thousands of lives. And that spark, that thing, I got it from here. And thanks to all of you for giving this. Thank you.
It's a wonderful to hear that it's journey of change, understanding and finding yourself in a real partnership that helped you grow. So I think Dr. Sulpi coming to you, and the famous question is like, you are in the CSR space, and skilling CSR have been now partners for a long time, right? And one of the things that CSR does is push a lot of skilling across, sometimes effective, sometimes not effective. But could you throw some light on how does CSR and its law influence partners, and what are the common myths that a lot of people work around? So if you can throw them out.
Hi everyone, good morning. First of all, again, thanks to all of you for having us here. It's a great privilege and pride. Just a little disclaimer here, I am a consultant with HCL Foundation. So yes, it's again pride and pleasure to be with them since last 4-5 years, and besides I work with other corporates in NGOs as well. Disclaimer because it shows HCL Surabhi Yadav, so being a compliance person, I think that is the first thing I had to do. Okay, so going ahead, I think the panel has beautifully explained what partnership and collaboration is all about. We have passionate people here who are working since so long, and 42 years, 27 years, and then we have somebody who's here from the 8 years. So what I'm just trying to show here is CSR, the terminology may not have been there, the law may not have been there, but philanthropy, the social work, the community work has always been there. It's ingrained in us, right? I think the biggest collaborative effort which the government made was making it Section 135. Making it compulsory for the corporates to do partnerships. They asked them that you have to partner with the implementing partners. You need to have NGOs. Of course, they gave them the freedom that you can also do this CSR directly, but again. So that was the first step, I believe, with that. Now we have data, we have numbers that, okay, 2,500,000 crore, 1,300,000 crore is being spent in CSR every year. So there were a lot many corporates who were doing, or maybe there were few corporates who were doing, but now we have thousands of corporates doing it in an organized manner. So I believe that is the first step which the government took in creating those partnerships. How many of you have attended such kind of development dialogues or CSR conclaves or such kind of gatherings before 2014-15? In fact, even before 2021, if I put it that way, the 2021 amendments in CSR which made it kind of compulsory to spend the CSR amount. And this is the time when the industry started taking it seriously. So when I say industry, again, I'm talking about the majority. Of course, few have always been doing there, they have always been pioneers who were into it. Now, talking about what partnership means from the lens of CSR, from the sense of law, they have always wanted the corporates to come together along with the NGOs, with the grassroots NGOs, because they knew the corporate doesn't have those kind of reach. They may have money, they may have policy, they may have strategy, they may have those kind of brains, but those kind of heart, those kind of hands, they don't have at the grassroots level. And that is where this whole phenomena or the structure has been made, right? Now, if I talk about how does it go in the sector, I see and I hear a lot of fears are there, a lot of negativity is also there somewhere where we feel that the law is very limiting. It is not allowing us to do what we have always wanted to do, and there are so many restrictions on everybody. I always feel law is very, very enabling. It is about the interpretation that we have. Fortunately, unfortunately, it's not the people who are implementing, it's not the people who are making the policy and strategy, it's the legal team, the CFOs and all who are driving the sector. I'm sorry to say that in an open forum, but yes, it's all about that, and we need to change those perspectives. So the morning we were talking, we can do only as much as we can control. So let us show, we have passionate players in the market, right? We have people on the ground who are working passionately. Corporate today are open to NGO partnerships. The challenges that they have, we will talk about that a little later. But if we see there are more than 250 lakh of NGOs registered on the urban portal today for the CSR, and it could not happen 250,000 I believe, right? So it would have not happened if there was no ecosystem existing out there. Yes, there are challenges in these kind of partnerships because the corporate is the one who has to do the reporting. They have their own challenges in terms of reporting and all of that. I think education is something which is much needed. Most of our NGO partners, they look for funding, but if I actually ask all of you, if you are from NGOs, how many of you are actually aware of Section 135 of Companies Act? 1, 2, 3. Yes, I have few students in the crowd, so I know about them. There are 10, 15 of them, right? So, no offense here, but if we have to play the game, we need to know the rules of the game. So once you know the rules, then only you can play. I go for batting, I don't know if the ball hits the wicket, I'm going to be out. If the ball hits the wicket, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even touch the ball. How can you throw me out of the field? What did I do wrong? So I need to learn those rules, those laws. So yes, all kind of partnership are existing, are allowed. Corporate partnership allowed, corporate government partnership allowed, corporate government NGO partnership, tripartite allowed. Consortium, as Sapna was talking about, where consortium of NGOs can come together and the lead agency, the lead NGO may have the contract with the company and they can do, yes, that's also permissible. So all of these are permissible. Of course, there are frameworks, there are boundaries, we are supposed to work within them. But if you ask me, the government has actually created a very beautiful ecosystem where everybody is responsible also. You can't play a game without those rules, because collaboration, of course, MOU contracts have to be there. The shared values, the passion, the vision are important. But without those rules, I don't think we would be able to achieve the goals within those timelines. So that's my take on this.
Good. I think so. It's been a wonderful hearing about all the positive things with partnerships. My partnerships won't promise, they come with their challenges also. So can you touch upon a few of the challenges? Governance alignment is one of the key areas of partnership because you have so much differing goals, differing, the organization needs also differ, but you partner because there is some bit of common interest. Now, how do you kind of overcome those challenges? Because it makes or breaks the partnership.
Yes, some of the things I already mentioned that before my experience in all my previous avatars, we are very clear who and whom we are going to enter into a partnership with. It cannot be a knee-jerk reaction, it's not be impulsive. There has to be, like I said, shared vision, shared values, and complementary skill set, all that. what has also helped us is having a structured relationship. Beyond, I'm not absolute. I'm not saying we should be collaboration, but having entering into a structured relationship, whether you call it an MOU or a LOI, where absolutely clear, so that there is no ambiguity and grey area later, so that we are clear who's responsible for what and what are the deliverables. I totally agree that the things say that we don't work together, we don't seek support of each other, but it's very clearly laid out. So tomorrow you wouldn't say that, hey, that's my baby, how did you do that? There is no turfish. The second thing is about the funding. The priming and the sub, be it a priming and a sub or a consortium, but again clearly laid out what is the funding mechanism, who's the main, who's the sub, what is the fund transfer mechanisms, the timelines, that's other thing. Laying out, sometimes it is also, it's very, when you work together, either you work together successfully or you pull each other back. So there is a joint responsibility for your deliverables, that your impact is depending on how we work together. So enter into use all kind of mechanisms and systems which will help you in that. Be it having a implementation plan, be it MIS where you lay down week-wise the plan, right from planning itself. The feedback mechanism that you spoke about, how much more you take, it's still less. Have as much meetings involve, and when you are stuck, involve facilitators, get the experts. And at some point you realize that the joint skill set is still not good enough, relevant enough. Seek, get experts from outside. I think these are some of the lessons. I'm talking about the big ticket items. I'm not getting into the micro details, but these are some of the things that has helped us. And it's not that it's always been a breezy walkthrough, and it's not that we haven't had failures, but we learn from our failures, and this has helped us to maneuver through those.
Yeah, I think it takes you to the idea that the spirit is good, but the letter also should be followed somewhere. I think governance is very important when you're going in partnership. You know where it is going, how it's progressing. And I think it gives responsibility to both the sides to be on the same page. So, Ram, you've been working with a lot of industries. Have you seen any challenges, and what are your specific challenges and how do you overcome them?
Yes. So predominantly, as you've been talking about mixed plan, we've been talking about $1 trillion economy, $5 billion economy for India. So these sectors talking about today, which are very happening with China plus one strategy. So what actually is really slowly entering India. So when you talk about EV, when you talk about semiconductors, when you talk about battery technology, so all of these sectors are sort of grown in India. So while these investments and factories start coming to India, the kind of workforce and training that you require is immense. So for you to achieve or even establish these sectors is very important for government, for private enterprise, for education institutions, and skill development related NGOs like the Foundation and others come across together to see the whole ecosystem being built.
Great. So I think it's bringing together that where is the skill gap in implementation, bringing the right partner on board is always mentioned. So Swiksha, can you throw some light on your experiences, challenges, how do you overcome them?
Being a part of NGO, I have come across multiple challenges. So one is definitely when there is limited funding and restricted funding. Sometimes we know that the model we are working on, it is scalable. Community is supportive, people are supportive, government is supportive. But the major challenge comes when there is limited funding and where the funders are not interested in longer term commitment. So then it makes very difficult for us to make an impact. And when we talk about impact, it is a very loosely used term. does not happen in a month. It takes years to see the impact on ground. And for anything which we are trying to do something which is sustainable, it will take years. So when we have a long-term commitment, then it will be easier. Otherwise, with short-term, it makes the challenge more difficult. Second point is when there is no flexibility. When there is a detailed budget and there is a time sheet and everything is planned, it is detailed and comprehensive. But we don't have any option or any room for brainstorming and coming up with innovative ideas based on our real-time based scenarios. So then it makes it very difficult. It is more like just checking the tick boxes like we have done. This is what was written in the plan and we have done it. Third and most important part is when partnership end in just one disbursement. The fund disbursement has happened and after a quarter we get to hear what is the impact that you are making and how many impacts you have, how many lives you have impacted. So then it becomes a very mechanical system where the funding and reporting, only that part is happening. So we want more people who are more involved in the process, who are part of the process, who are co-creating it together. When they see that this is the roadblock we are facing during the execution and they are coming up with solutions. So then I think it will be an easy task for all the NGOs to implement any program and bring it to a scale.
Very thank you. That neatly segues my question to Dr. Sundari. And I think CSR has always been vilified for being a financial year to financial year kind of project. Now, is that something that you believe is true? Or you see that there is a scope opportunity beyond it being a fiscal year kind of an activity? So,
Right. So, see, I have always been talking about this ongoing project concept, which was introduced in 21, where they said that ongoing project cannot be more than 4 years or so. And I don't know who told the corporate it cannot be more than 1 year or so. That is what they heard. When government said 4 years, they heard 1 year. And the implications are such that as we're talking about, they're limiting it to the financial year. But that's not the truth. Actually, any project can be spread across 4 years or so. And many, again, corporates are working towards that. The only thing is you have to break them into 3 or 4 different parts. You have to plan it in such a manner that what are you going to achieve in year 1? What are your budgets for year 1? What is it that you're going to do in year 2? What is that you're going to do in year 3? With the proper timelines, with the kind of outcomes that you're expecting in year 1, year 2, and year 3. Because of course, corporate also know that longer term impacts can be created only when you are involved for a longer period of time. The only constraint they have is that they need to spend their budget for that particular financial year by 31st of March, but they are not restrained from having a long-term contract. Having said that, there are multiple projects which corporates are funding. The MOUs are for 3 years or 4 years, but yes, the funding is done only for 1 year and basis that the next year reporting or next year budgeting is being done, right? So again, I'll come back to the basics. What is it that the corporate require? What are the compliance factors, if I may put it that way, the FUCs, the other compliance elements? If an NGO follows that, corporate is more than happy to partner with such NGOs. Most of the time, believe me, the problem we hear from corporate side is the NGOs don't understand the requirements that we have. They can't even, even if it's 100 rupees which is left unspent, they may have to open the unspent account at the end of the year, which is a challenge for them and which portrays them not in a very good picture. So although we were on a policy discussion and I propose that instead of having unspent CSR account, let's name it ongoing CSR account. Maybe that sounds better. But yes, of course, that's a policy level thing. We can just talk about that as of now. But my take on this is there's no restriction on that. If as an NGO we present to the corporate, we show the breakups, and even if you move out in year 1, so what are we going to do in year 2? You can approach multiple partners also, multiple corporates also. So you're free to do that. Maybe that is part of your MOU also.
I think it's like you rightly said, the standards interpretation from the corporate itself. Sometimes the CFOs and the legal, the other custodians. Where there is clearly a platform where we can advocate that how we interpret correctly, having there are very involved corporates who understand and enter even. See, it's not necessarily April to March itself. You could enter into a relationship in the month of October also. So that doesn't mean that you have to end that program by March 31st. So like you rightly said, the solutions are then only all this work only if there is openness in the corporate CSR board. Second, if they are less risk averse. If they are risk averse, nothing happens. They're very clear, we don't want to take any risk. But having said all that, the way you can work, like she rightly said, is plan your programs and the fund disbursement in tranches so that March very clearly you lay down what is your fund required till March and you get only those funds get transferred to you. So there is less chance of unspent because it's a very cumbersome process. We have to send the fund back to the corporate and corporates have to start a separate account called unspent account. And April 1st, they have to, restart the cycle. They have to transfer funds back so that we can implement. So best way as proactive implementing partners, what we can do is ensure that you plan correctly. Your fund request is in such a way that you get funds only what is required till March. So it makes the life easier for both the partners, the corporate partner as well as the implementing partner.
Nagasar, your experience in this?
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to say is everything is in the mindset. Whether you are collaborating or getting into partnership, it is all the mindset which makes important thing. In the mindset, one thing is we all have to understand that it is not red ocean strategy, but it is blue ocean strategy. So once you understand this, you all is in a harmony. The mental harmony is there, whether you are from corporate or CSR or from government or any organizations, because the ultimate goal is well-being of the community. So if that is one thing is understood. Second thing is, this is a transaction which is happening, so it should be, you should understand the transaction analysis. There are three ego states here, and I know that. Adult ego state, child ego state, and parent ego state. This whole relationship, this CSR relationship should be not from the parent ego state. When I tell you parent ego state, it is about saying, ye nahi karna hai, wo nahi karna hai. It did not happen like this. All these bold things gets recorded in that parent ego state. But if you deal from an adult ego state, every issue, you can understand what is the challenge, how to handle it. You don't have to get too emotional about in the child ego state, but you can work from the adult ego state. With all the CSR, whether all across this ecosystem, all of us work from an adult ego state, then we can create a win-win-win-win situation which can ultimately help the community for which we are all striving wearing various hats. This is my thought process.
Thank you. I think we are out of time, so I need some questions from the audience.
Check. So we're out of time. Thank you, sir, for that transaction analysis class. I think we should all think about that next time we enter into a partnership. Now, I wanted to throw the floor out for a few questions. We can take about 3 questions from the audience. Sure. Maybe you can introduce yourself and then ask questions.
Okay, I'll go things.
Hello. Good morning. I'm Arvind. I'm a technology entrepreneur. And my question to the panel is, we talk of partnerships and large-scale implementations, but how are we addressing redundancy in terms of, when we talk of programs, say emerging tech like AI, I've been personally guilty of building at least 5 platforms, large scale, doing the same thing. And in the end, it's just certified, but they're not centrally controlled. We have skill corporations and NSDC and other things, but usually when we talk of digital education, as well as, practical labs, there is no centralized ecosystem. So it's more of, I have about 1 lakh students who got certified in a certain program, and that kind of qualifies to CSR, but the impact is just redundant. Is what? How do we address this aspect? Thank you.
Moderator is the best person to answer this because he has huge experience in the scaling sector. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Arvind. I think, see, one of the things that, we need to recognize that there are going to be 90 million jobs that are going to be built, added to the workforce. And for that to happen, it has to be a very distributed environment for learning. And that distributed environment is where all the organizations come in with their own ability and skills of teaching. So, to a certain extent, I think that independence of being able to skill for what the community needs and what the community next to them needs has been the key aspect of success in all of the organizations. So, having said that, that individualized approach has given them the ability to reach. And I think the organizations are now talking about partnerships with scale, is also now recognizing the need for collaborative platforms that can certify students or certify learners that is universally accepted, and that everybody that does work on that is all brought to the same level playing field. I think that's an evolution process that is happening, and we've seen that happen. I think if you look at the programs that the Deshpande Foundation does, it's more about living labs. I think they learn from experimentation, they take that experimentation to outside. And I think it's one of the ways to think about how do you now create these models that come together, to a singular platform, so that going forward we can, remove a lot of the redundancies that are coming up. Right? We know that, the IT medium has 10 job roles that are very lucrative. Data entry operator, customer support. Those are all going out in the next 3 years, right? We are looking at an evolution of jobs, and with that evolution also, I think the partnerships also will look at evolving in a way that is, reducing redundancies. Hopefully, I've answered the question. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Raghavendra, working as the head of field operations in Village Foundation. Santosh, I hope you don't mind if I ask 2 questions. Questions are for both Sapna and Surabhi ma'am. First thing, I also see a lot of value and see partnership as a great opportunity for scale and impact. I like the analogy which Surabhi ma'am have mentioned. So, a lot of energy, time, things goes behind the partnership. Sometimes what happens is challenges occurs more than one who signed MOU on, but also later one who manages the partnership for both organizations. So I've been through that situations, face such challenges. I'll take simple analogy of a typical Indian family, like you managing wife and mother both. So if you tell truth, partnership breaks. You have to negotiate. So what ideally we should do, either we should negotiate or tell truth and face the consequences. Second thing is, is there anything called, which is related, dynamic partnership, is there any possibility for that? Because to organization to start from the scratch to have a partnership with government takes a lot of time, energy and everything. So in meantime, if you have a partnership with an existing organization, if you can join as an alliance to that, that time, energy can be spent, resource can be spent on immediate, we can immediately start taking actions and bring more impact. So those 2 are the questions I would have.
It's balancing a family life.
I like you extending the analogy of marital relationship with mother-in-law and child, but I missed the final part of the first part question. So you get sandwiched. Whom are you referring to getting sandwiched between 2 entities?
Yes.
So whom are you representing? The third party, you are part of one of the entity, right?
Yeah, I'm working for an organization, but managing because I see value. There's a lot of value in the partnership.
Yeah. So I think one of the things you also spoke about evidence that coming from the society, and the other thing your driving force is the impact of the community. Nothing, you don't say anything beyond that. As long as you know what you want to reach and you have the evidence from the community what is the best. I think we spoke about communication, we spoke about feedback mechanism. It has to be taken back, and a lot of organizations value and make decisions based on this evidence. It could be as data, it could be as group discussion, it could be informal, it could be structured, unstructured. There could be evidences coming back, and a good, robust organization always redesign their the plan and the implementation plan activities based on this evidence coming at regular intervals. Yeah. So it's okay to get sandwich as long as sandwich is making a difference to the communities we serve. The second part of your question was.
Dynamic partnership where like if there is an organization already having.
Yeah, so we have. I know. Suddenly I realize the irony of our discussions. The irony now is our discussions are all skewed towards only CSR. Like Sylvie said, a decade back, all of our discussions were based on how government looks at it, because that was one of our donors. Bilateral organizations, the USAIDs and the UNICEFs and UN bodies, or the private foundations like a BMGF or Warren Buffett or any of those foundations. So I'm also adding them into the landscape. They not isolating them. Lot of them see merit in working in consortium. And I strongly believe, personally, professionally, I believe we shouldn't reinvent the wheel. We should look at expertise. We should work as a consortium. Some of the cases where they really accept it within government, NRHM, for example, have clearly laid out policies for PPP models, running of their first referral units, the clinics itself. So I had an experience in the past, and we didn't go as a single organization, we went as a consortium there also to run the first referral units. So government accepts it. Like I earlier mentioned, lot of bilateral organizations and foundations accept it. And like Surabhi mentioned, if there is really depth in your proposal, so that's why the choice of partners, like in any relationship, really matters. When you pick up the right, and then it clearly closes the loop. Is someone clearly fixing the missing part? You don't have this expertise, you're bringing in someone else, and hence the whole pie is full now. Then it is easier to sell into the corporates also, but there shouldn't be duplication. Like I bring in knowledge partner, technology partner, because I don't have them in-house. They clearly accept it.
Yeah, so see, there are so many aspects to it if I talk about. Partnership has, as I said, has always been probably a fighting comment over here. And clearly they wanted to go with it. But I think somewhere we need to give the benefit of doubt to the corporates also. For them also CSR is new. For them also amendments are new. And they are the ones who are responsible at the end of the day. You know, they have to go and attend that PTM. And they are responsible for the child that has done or not done or spent or not spent. So it's just been 4 or 5 years since the amendments, and I can see changes happening in the corporate ecosystem also now, as you're saying. And I see a lot of corporates, they are going into ongoing project mode where the contracts are for 3 years or 2 years or so. Because they know when they start a project, the corporates out here would agree to me. It's not in April that first tranche is being disbursed. The first tranche comes in the month of July or August most of the time. That's the reality, we all know that. And now corporate is also accepting that we can't expect you to do a 8 months project, a 12-month project in an 8 months time. But then the constraint is midterm has to be cleared, the end term has to be cleared, you can move to the next class and then you can study further. So same rule applies here also. We have to do this much by 31st of March and then we can go forward, right? So I think it's both of us have to be educated. It's not partnership of convenience anymore. It has to be partnership of commitment. It has to be partnership of compact. We always say that now we are partners in compliance also. As an NGO, you have to understand you are also partnering in compliance, not only in the impact. So you have to take it with a pinch of salt, as Dr. Bhaga was saying, and you have to balance it out. and with the roots of the game.
Thank you. Thank you.
One question. Yeah, final one. Sorry. We're out of time, so.
Hi, my name is Aniruddha Kannal. Dr. Deshpande mentioned how NGOs or the smaller organizations can be engines for innovation, right? The discussion that we've had till now was talking about timelines and funding and this full insistence or need for demonstrating impact, right? So where is the scope for failure in all of this? Because as we all know, if we don't have that, there is no innovation. So I'm trying to understand how can the NGOs be that engine for innovation if there is no opportunity or no allowance for failure in any of this?
So if I may, so there is a provision in the Schedule 7 for research, innovation and all of that. The central universities, the IITs, the IIMs, they have incubation center where you can go and empanel with them as a startup. And these are pure contributions then from the corporate side. So most of the IITs, in fact, IIT Madras takes around 350 crores, per year going forward. And they spend a lot of innovations and all of that. And the entrepreneurs, they can go, the startups, they can go and empanel themselves with them. And as I said, it's a pure contribution. Then these utilization by 31st of March, these kind of things are not there. But of course, then you need to have a proper plan. What are you planning to develop? What is the research you're planning to do? Maybe you need to submit a report and all of that. That goes without saying. But yes, there is a scope of failure because the government understands that in case there's an innovation, there's a research, there's always a chance of failure.
That's a typical startup domain. That's the IIT startup, that's the entrepreneur, that's what we do. I would love to hear about this from the NGOs rather than the CSR perspective.
So you wanted to hear the perspective from the NGOs, especially when your donor is a corporate or you're open to anything. So I'll give you two cases. Typical corporate donor-donor relationship. If you are piloting, and I'm really grateful you brought it because I also remember Mr. Desh talking about piloting in small, very clearly piloting in small scale and then scaling with other partnerships. Yeah. So there is a scope. That's why we spoke about. And again, not all organizations are open to it. Not all corporates are open to it. In a corporate scenario, I've had multiple organizations who have absolutely been open to hearing what is the evidence, what went wrong, and how can we, as long as we are transparent, there is communication, evidence to say that it is not for lack of commitment of, because we also are learning, there is behavior change, there are a lot of things happening within the communities. Going back with evidence, with solution, how do you correct it in the coming times? That's one. I'll give another case where BMGF, Bill and Melinda Gates came to India with the largest program called Amahan. This is in the early 2000s and they pumped in a whole lot of money. Whom did they appoint? They got Ashok Alexander and the McKinsey group to lead the program in India. What is this program? This is working with sex workers and male clients of sex workers and all other stakeholders to change the behavior, make it safe. Purely from an HIV/AIDS perspective. They started this program purely crunching numbers. McKinsey being McKinsey, that's how they wanted to look at it. But giving full credit to them, there was a total turnaround. They did a social immersion and these young and old management consultants understood that behavior change cannot be achieved in just crunching numbers. So I think that dialogue, and when we are talking about dialogue like this, much deeper conversations, collaborative involvement, working together really helped in both the cases.
Just to add, I think one of the things that's good about the NGO sector and our scaling programs is that you don't see our failure programs scaling. We don't bring it to you for funding, right? So the fact that we've been on the ground doing what we've been doing for years is giving us the experience to come and give you programs that will work. We failed, and so there are tons of skill programs that we started thinking, this is the best thing that will happen to the community. We are looking at low interest, not people taking up. We've that training program, we are training hundreds and hundreds of girls with skill that will give them jobs. And we realize that they are not going to travel for 10 kilometers in a bus to find that job. Right? Now, is that a failure? Yes. And what have organizations done? They've gone back to the drawing board and seen how do we mobilize, how do we create stories of positive success that the next time we train 100 women, it's all of them trying to take up a job and not having the hesitancy to travel that 10 kilometers. So there are a lot of learning failures that each NGO goes through, but unfortunately they are not funded. Unless it's a Deshpande Foundation funding them, right? They are trying to learn from failures. We're trying to create living labs, models. So I think a lot of philanthropic money helps you that way. But I think that's where I want to kind of close this. Last words.
I just want to add one point that it is all about finding the right partner. Because we have had multiple partners who have supported us in piloting a small program. So when you find people who share the mission and the vision that you have, then it is easy. Then it becomes easy for the NGOs also to innovate and come up with new strategies. Thank you.
Sure. I'm sorry I have to close this with the paucity of time. I think just to sum up the whole conversation, I think what we're looking at is now openness to work, shared vision, and most importantly, trust. I think these are the three things that will help in a partnership. And the fourth one that is very, very important is governance. Right? It's not about signing that MOU or saying I'm partnering with someone. It's all about following it through, measuring it, giving critical feedback, understanding feedback, and taking it to the next level. So we are all available here in case you want to have more offline discussions. We're happy to do it. Thank you, panelists, for the wonderful conversation. Thank you, Deshpande Foundation. And thank you.